How's it going, guys? This is Rob Harris. Welcome to Smart Powers Podcast. I'm here with great friends of mine, Max Kupitz and Dan Noble, and we together have been working pretty hard at getting this program going and building it to this point. So we're really excited where we're at, what we've done, and looking forward to some awesome things in the future.
Rob, you and I have been around each other for almost 20 years, and you've been in the direct sales industry for 19, 20 years. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to kind of think back how long ago it was that I was out knocking doors in 2002 in Dallas, Texas, selling satellite TV before that industry even had a DVR. You know, kids born today don't even know what watching TV is like without being able to pause it and record it. And my first year selling, that didn't even exist. So, and really there weren't even a lot of guys out. I didn't knock into another single person knocking doors that summer. I knocked the entire summer, didn't see another person selling any other product door to door. But where I was from, it was becoming more and more a thing to do. Pest control, satellite TV was right new. Alarms was starting to take hold. And at that point, solar wasn't even a thought in the door-to-door space. But there's been a lot of different products and services sold door-to-door. I started in satellite, spent 4 or 5 years there, got into security and started a business in satellite, started a business in security. And each of those ventures were successful, and we had a lot of fun building those companies. And we just continued to look for additional opportunities, both within those spaces and others, which is why we evolved from satellite TV to home security. Really, the idea, I think, all along, and Dan and I were college roommates. He started to work with me in 2007. But all along, our idea was this is what we're doing as a career. So we want to continually put ourselves in a position to sell the product and service that is most exciting for our sales organization, that creates career path opportunities. We didn't want to work with a product and service that didn't allow for guys to come into the industry, start working with us, and get so excited about it that they could see themselves doing it as a career. That's how we felt like we could really build a long-term viable business, is if the opportunity for each of the individuals was actually created a career path for them. And so moving into alarms allowed for that to happen. And the alarm industry over the last few years has become a little less exciting for sales guys, which is really what pushed us to start focusing on solar. It's a significant earning opportunity for individuals. There's a lot of different ways for guys to work in this industry, from rookie through veteran guys, and they can find a ton of success on every level. So really over the last 20 years, we've just tried to be an organization that evolved to continue to provide the best opportunities for our salespeople, which is, kind of our core governing value here. Our smart promise that we have with Smart Power is to take care of our salespeople, and we try and have that be. And we've done a lot of things to try and meet those objectives, but that brings us to today.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Rob. You bring up a few things. We've been in this industry, 15. You've been in it almost 19 years, and we've always tried to find products that are sold in the home, that are sold the best in the home. You started in satellite, we moved into security, that transitioned to home automation, and now we are here with solar. And I think your expertise and our expertise in ability to recruit and create a culture where we provide the best opportunity for direct salespeople. And right now that's solar. And we're excited about this venture, and because you're in the home, you're establishing the confidence of the consumer in the home and teaching them about energy savings. It's an incredible opportunity we have, and Max knows probably better than all of us, being out there on the doors with these guys. Tell us a little bit about that, Max, about the opportunity that they have inside the home to make great money and build this company.
Yeah, a little about me. My name's Max Kupitz. Started with these guys going on about 8 years ago, so haven't worked directly with these two as long as you have with each other. But cool story is Rob was the CEO of the company I started at just as a regular sales rep back in the day, and now we're sitting all here together. So that something sometimes I pinch myself about. But as far as the opportunity they have, it's just way better than it was. There's a product now that they can save money immediately. The people are spending the money already. So any money that they're spending on their bills currently that are going to go into the solar panels would have been spent on electricity, and they would have been throwing that away, essentially renting that. Now they can have equity in their power, put that equity directly on the roof, and have an end game in sight. So it's just a much better conversation. In fact, I don't know any other product in almost any other industry where it's really that type of feeling, especially coming from alarms, where oftentimes this is something that they may or may not want, and you're having a conversation about something that unfortunately can be a little more difficult or kind of like icky because you're talking about stuff that might happen to them or their safety. I mean, this is people, everybody's going to turn on the lights. And so as far as that goes, it's a no-brainer. I can think of very few reasons, even after 9 months or almost a year, that 9 months we've been in business and almost a year of being in this business, that anybody shouldn't do it. There's really no reason.
I think you bring up a good point about opportunity, and it's why we got into this. We've been in home security and automation, 14 years now. And you're right. It's become a little bit harder sell, a little bit more saturated market. And now we basically opened it back up with solar. We've given opportunities for the consumer. They don't have the product. The penetration rate, the market penetration rate is really low. The market penetration of salespeople and people pitching this product is low, and that's why it's such an opportunity for us, and why we brought it, to the forefront. We wanted to give the salespeople more earning potential, more success. We talked about that the last 5 years in automation, is that the successes were starting to shrink a little bit. And so this was incredible, and not just opportunity for money making potential, but the society really has opened up to solar. The government is really encouraging clean energy. The administration right now is very much behind it. And it's here to stay. And that's where we saw the opportunity, and now just using all of our experience, and then the guys that we have, the leadership that we have, I think we're primed to do something special here over the next few years.
I think as I think back, like when I first started in satellite, one of the reasons I loved satellite was because of the fact that it was an easier product to sell. Guys could see success regularly on a day-to-day basis. And when the challenge though was it was easier, but it also had limited upside earning potential. And so we would recruit guys, especially rookies, and the best way to build an organization is to grow organically, and it allows you to maintain the culture that you want. The quality and integrity within the organization is a lot easier to remain intact when you can grow everybody organically and recruit people to come into the opportunity who've never done this before, teach them how to do it the right way the first time, and watch them grow. I mean, that's really one of the reasons I've loved this industry more than any, is the idea of watching a new guy. I remember stories of guys who start working with us, they have $100 in their bank account, and within 12 months, 24 months, their lives have changed financially, individually, their self-confidence, their leadership abilities, the skills they've developed changed drastically. And, when I first started, I was excited about satellite because it was an easier product to sell, but it didn't have that like career-like earning opportunity. So it was harder to retain guys. Easy to bring them in because they heard that it was an easy product to sell. Hard to keep them long-term because it didn't provide enough earning potential for them to really see a career. So we moved into alarms, which at the time provided much more earning potential, but it did require a little higher caliber individual to be successful. And as the alarm industry evolved, the caliber of individual to be successful became even more difficult. To bring a rookie in and have them be successful in alarms every year seemed as if it got harder and harder, and the retention that we saw was worse every year of rookies, which is frustrating for management. They spend months and months and months building their teams, recruiting them, training them. It's go time in the summer. That's where they make their money. And then to see rookies struggle, especially friends and family members that they bring out, it can make it really challenging for managers to stay excited about this job. And so what's cool that I've noticed and has been one of the most exciting things about solar is we're kind of marrying these two ideas of simplicity of sale allows for a lot more people to be successful with earning potential that's even greater than what we saw in alarms. So you can take a rookie.
It's not as hard and they can make more money.
Exactly. And we saw that this year. We saw our retention rate was so much better of rookies. Guys were making so much more money. They leave the summer so excited about what they're doing, and you don't have to push them. We were talking about this the other day, right, Max? At the end of the year, it's interesting because the team that we have right now, it's like you can sense their hunger to go and work.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be like we've done in the past. We're
Get
like,
ready
all
for
right,
next year.
Take a little time off, and then, all right, guys, it's time to get going. It's time to get working again. They're seeing it and they're feeling it, and that to me just is a recipe for massive success.
It's a fun product. I think the public likes the product
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they like it. People don't mind hearing about it. Even if you're still going to just in this type of realm and door to door, you're going to have a bunch of people getting their butts kicked and having people tell you to F off and slam the door in your face and all the same difficulties, but it's just a cooler product, and these kids are making a lot more money and they're happier to come back. And the model and the things that we're coming up with right now, that all the lessons that we learned from that industry, I feel like we're bringing, and we're still allowing them to get a lot of the same personal growth and development. And I'm excited about even, the fact that we were so new, and you guys are obviously extremely, and myself have been in the general business long enough, but really we're fairly new in this business right now, and we just did so well. I think we learned a lot of lessons, and we don't even know what we're about to get into.
Yeah.
You calling me old, man?
Yeah.
You've been in this a long time.
Hey, your head's kind of shiny.
You know what's funny about that is I don't think when I started in the door-to-door industry, I'd be in this thing, 15 years later in door-to-door. And I think that's one of the challenges that we overcome when we're talking to new guys. It's like, do I really want to go door-to-door? It's funny, Rob, he mentioned our background. We were in school together, and he started door to door, and he was knocking doors, he was installing, he was doing everything at the time. And I was just graduating college, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be in this space. And I went and worked at an accounting firm called PricewaterhouseCoopers, because that was what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to college. I got an accounting degree from BYU, and you're supposed to graduate and then go work in corporate America. But after 5 years, I see what Rob's doing and having so much fun.
Did you graduate college, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one that didn't.
Yeah.
That didn't.
You're the most successful one out of all of us. But I come out, I come out to this door-to-door company thinking, what am I doing? But I did it because it seemed fun and there seemed like opportunity. It was the best decision I ever made. And not looking back, like there's not this path that you're supposed to be on that you think of, when you're in school or you're in high school or whatever. The opportunity that we're providing in this massive organization that we have in front of us and behind us, the products it's incredible, and there's so much future here. So it's interesting how door to door, when you think about it, you think of Kirby vacuum salesman or something like that. But these guys that we have, they are some of the most talented people that I've ever met. And then you talk about culture, and you talk about how excited they are. We're not just a summer program anymore. We're really a talent agency, if you will. And the guys that we have, the core group of leaders we have right now, they're incredible individuals.
Yeah. Speaking about that, I just want to talk about some of those individuals. We've got a really good management team. Ryan Mays, Graham, Fernie, Matt Lewis, Nate. I'd say that's kind of our core of our management. And when I think about this program too, I was looking at, who is it? Is it the Lions right now that they're like 60% freshmen starters right now.
Oh, the youngest team.
The youngest team. And I think about us like that. I think about us like maybe a sports team in a movie where, you know, people are just getting to know each other, or some of us knew each other, but we're kind of working out some of those kinks, but there's so much talent that we don't even know what's about to happen because these guys are just going to get better and we're going to grow organically from within. And, you know, I think I look at this as like a freshman team. We're moving just to our sophomore year. Wait till we fucking get to our senior year, or wait till we get to our fourth year. We're a championship team in the making right now. I feel like,
you know, one of the things I think, you know, you're focused on is the talent. People talk about like work-life balance, right? You hear that term all the time. I don't really subscribe to that, because that kind of means there's like a separation between work and life. And I just don't feel like that's the case. I don't think it's not even practical. But the best thing about what we're doing is there is no work-life balance. It's just life. And everybody's having a good time, and everybody's making money, and everybody is growing as individuals. And so that work-life balance is just one thing. And people talk about, you know, love what you do what you love. And, you know, if you had all the money in the world, what would you be doing? And, you know, I could really say that this is what I'd be doing. This is what I want to be doing. And with these guys, you talk about this team, we might be the Lions, the Detroit Lions. Hopefully, you know, they'll get some wins here. But
shoot, I don't know if it was a terrible comparison. I mean, I'm 3-0. I'm 3-0 in my fantasy football team.
I might need your help. But the point is that I like everybody that we work with. And, you know, we've been here in Vegas having this manager retreat, and the power and the energy that was in this room as we were having this retreat. And then just at dinners and everything else, it's cool to be with these people, and you can see the potential about what's going to happen here soon.
Yeah. When you spend as long, the amount of time that I know I've spent, Dan, and all of us have spent in an industry, and you get older, you start to realize that what really matters is that you love what you do. And the amount of money you make and when you make it, that all changes and goes, you know, different directions. And but that ultimately isn't what drives the real satisfaction and fulfillment in your career. And so I think that's probably what's kept me in this industry as long as it's been, is just always enjoying the people. And the reality is this job creates the type of person that is fun to be around. It requires a ton of hard work. It requires sacrifice. It requires commitment. You know, it requires change. They have to become new people. But for them to become successful in this job, in door-to-door direct sales, they have to evolve individually, but they evolve into people that you really want to be around because they're successful. It's fun being around successful people and seeing the energy and the excitement that they have. And so it's kind of this cool idea that we have this business model that will continually produce the culture and the type of people that we want to be around, that then in turn, it just helps us love the job, right? Because we come hang out with these guys, we spend time with them. They're not victims that are always complaining about, you know, poor me, poor this, whatever. They're empowered, excited, energetic, confident individuals that inspire. I get inspired a lot being around the guys that go out and grind and change their lives for the better. So it's just awesome. And for anybody listening that is maybe thinking about door to door, just freaking do it.
100%.
It is
when you were talking
so
about
life changing. Like, just do it. Don't keep thinking about it. Just call your buddy, go do it. You'll see. You won't regret it.
You know, I'll tell you one person that maybe that shouldn't do it. So if you're listening to this podcast and you shouldn't do it, if you're not a competitor, don't do it. Because that's one of the things you were just talking about. I was thinking about being around people. What I like being around all these individuals is they're all competitors. They're all competitive, whether it's ping pong, whether it's you're in the gym, whether it's, you know, I don't know, getting to a meeting at first. Everybody competes and they want to win. Yeah. And you got all these guys that want to win. And when everybody wants to win, you win together. And that's like, I mean, I grew up playing sports. I have kids that, you know, they're all in athletics, and it's, I don't know, it's part of me. I love competing and I love winning. And I think the guys that we work with, they epitomize that.
It's certainly like one of those things where if you grew up playing sports, team sports and whatever, and you graduate high school, college, and you miss that competitiveness that existed, this is probably one of the closest things to recreating some of that adrenaline competitiveness in a professional career.
Yeah.
That you could find. I mean, you're going to go do whatever job you're going to do, but how many jobs actually create competitiveness on a high level, where your own individual efforts, day in and day out, your personal choices, day in and day out, allow for you to compete for significant recognition, compensation, prizes, whatever it might be. It is gamified, and it's designed that way to help produce the results. And we see guys competing and, busting their tails to win a hat, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to win. And so to Dan's point, like, competitive people for sure have an edge in this job. And it is a huge characteristic that we love to see when guys come out to start working with us.
Yeah. And you're talking about how you're like trying to reevaluate that work-life balance answer. People ask me, like, what do you like? Or what do you want to do? What are your hobbies? I mean, this is my hobby. I can't think. I get obsessed about doing this. I'm obsessed about building this business and creating something for other guys, because it's done so much for me in the realm of what Rob was talking about. When we pick up these guys and they only have a few bucks in their pocket, or they're looking for something else in their life, I honestly think that we have a job now where I have a few friends that I can take a risk and say, man, I will contractually tell you that if you do this and you put in the time, like I tell you, for a year, and you don't make $100,000, I'll personally pay you the remainder of what you didn't make, because I believe that you'll be able to make that. And so I don't know anywhere else where you can do that. I was writing this down. I don't know if we technically have created like a mission statement for the company. I know we have a brand promise and a brand ideal, but I wrote down that we're building lives, not businesses. We're teaching solutions to solve problems and giving people opportunities to get out of the rat race. So that was something that just meant a ton to me, and that's going to be the focus for me as we move into this next year and what I'm doing for the rest of our guys.
Yeah. I mean, building lives, building relationships, building wealth, building skills, leadership, and I think just fun. And I think everybody wants to enjoy what they do. And that's the best part, is I think we enjoy every single day. Is it a challenge? Is it hard? But it's rewarding. So
for sure.
I think we've taken a unique approach to this industry. There are companies that have been in the solar space for longer than us. We certainly came out and, did awesome our first year. And so we're really excited about the success that we've seen so far. And
what do you think that unique approach is?
Well, I think that we've decided that the most important portion or person in our organization is the person creating that initial contact with the customer to get them interested into solar. We call them our business development representatives. Yeah. And there's a lot of companies that'll pay guys to go out and just set appointments, and they just pay them per appointment, and the quality of those appointments struggle because the guy doing it is getting paid $100 or whatever it is to go and ask a customer to listen to a solar presentation.
And we treat those guys like they're the most important person. They're better than the rep. We'd actually rather find more of them than consultants.
Right. And if you think about it,
or closers,
that person is it's the right way to build the program, in our opinion, right? Because that's how we scale our business too. We have to create, the opportunity has to be so great for the people just looking at our industry. Mm-hmm. We have to be able to tell those people who've never knocked doors and show them a career path from the day one, and show them how their first year in the business, they can make significant money. And so tailoring our program and compensation to that portion of the business of creating leads for us, creating appointments, is super, super effective. And we've balanced the compensation in a way to where they have a heavy level of interest on the outcome of the actual install. Yeah. So they care about the appointment. They care more about the install. Yeah. And so when they talk to those consumers, the level of care and the way they're going to make sure that they're very interested in solar, it's different than a guy who's just simply, I just need you to listen to my buddy so I can make $100, right?
Yeah.
And so the way I think that's a unique thing that is going to allow for us to scale in a way that other companies probably haven't been able to, because they're focusing on the closer side, who is there to close the deal, which is totally very important. But those guys get even more excited if the quality of the appointment is better.
Yeah. And
Right.
we're playing a little money ball,
Yeah.
right? We're checking their stats weekly. We're looking through, their sits and who's talking to them and why they got turned away. And we're reviewing that and incentivizing,
Yeah.
stuff for
Our
that.
sit percentages are just as important as our closing percentages in our organization.
Yeah.
And the key metrics that we focus on.
And I feel like we felt good about both
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's important to talk about and for guys to hear, that I think we have a very unique compensation structure that is going to allow for a lot of success on every level. It isn't a top heavy compensation structure just for the guys who've been in it for a long time. Many times our business development representatives can even make more money than the closers because of the opportunity they have as a part of our compensation plan.
Yeah. Who's our ideal rep?
Good question. I think it's somebody that's hungry, right? Just wants to work.
They don't need to go to college, right?
No. I mean, if they go to college, great. If they've been a professional, great. If they haven't, we just want somebody to be competitive, be hungry, believe in the product, believe in the team, and get out and hustle.
They got to be coachable, right? They got to be willing to listen and be wrong and be okay with learning to do things differently. We see guys come in a lot of the times who think they have their own unique way of doing things, and they struggle, and maybe it takes them a little bit to be coachable and let us train them in a way that we know is proven to be successful. But coachable, hungry, competitive, hard work is a massive attribute that we want. We can't really teach hard work. You can teach sales skills, you can teach door approaches, you can teach people how to stand in front of the door and the best way to overcome concerns and all those things. But teach a guy to open the door and get out and hustle all day long is something that is harder to teach. And hopefully, we get a lot of those guys every year that are just willing to work hard and be coachable. And I think that's the foundation of, do we know if a guy is successful or will be successful? If they come out, they're willing to work hard, they're committed, they work the schedule, we know they'll be successful. We know it. And I tell, guys ended the season and they're frustrated. It's pretty easy to tell, like, well, did you work? How hard did you work? Yeah. Did you put in all the hours? Did you get up? Did you work out in the morning? Did you have a schedule? What did you do this summer? Did you really take advantage of the opportunity this summer, or were you just there all summer? You're frustrated, but I'm pretty certain there was something missing in the equation that you had control over that you chose not to do, which resulted in you not having the success you hoped to have. But it is a very predictable program of what can happen when guys do what we show them to do.
Best thing about that is we didn't have very many of those, if any. And when we already talked about the retention versus alarms, when we were in alarms, first year guys, we were losing 75% of the guys by the end of the summer. We were like 20% this year. And I think that goes back to the opportunity. Like the guys that are out there working right now, they believe it. And it's pretty easy, right? People want to know about it. Solar it's got to the point where people want it. They want to know about it at least. They're interested. And it's just building that interest level. And that's where our focus on building these prospects and leads is going to remain, because we know that there's just so much out there. The penetration in the market is so low. The interest level is so high. It's a perfect equation for great opportunity. And, this is where we're starting. We're starting in this direct-to-home, door-to-door model because it's what we know, but we'll be expanding those channels. And with the partnership with Northstar, we have all of our customers that will continue to cross-market them, generate more leads for our reps, our older customer win-back programs, upgrade programs, all kinds of things. It's all going to be about developing prospects and converting the world to solar.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people in this industry, the direct-to-home industry, they know who Northstar is because we've been around for 20 years. We own all of our accounts in-house. We have a significant customer base, active customer base that, rely on us to service their home security systems every single month. Smart Power is a unique way for us to continue to grow and add a new vertical to what we're doing, with a direct sales team working for Smart Power, with a lot of support operationally, systems, door knocking applications, history, finance. There's a lot of value that North Star can provide to what Smart Power is going to do. And I think that's why we're most excited about getting to a place where we are today. And I know I've shifted my focus from North Star, which has been my focus for the last 6 years. I'm focusing 100% on Smart Power and building this organization. It's just kind of like a new, I love startup. I love new. I love building new stuff that we get to really feel a lot of ownership of. And this is one of the things I was thinking about when I first got into summer sales. I started working with a company that was a startup. There were other companies that I'd met with that had been doing satellite for a little bit longer period of time. And for me, my personality, I loved the idea of going in and making a big impact on a new organization and knowing that what I was going to do was going to make a difference in that company. I mean, I was learning how to install satellite by the owner of the company was teaching me how to learn how to install satellite and touch cable lines to my tongue to know that we were connected to a satellite receiver. I mean, this company I started working with had never done a summer program. I didn't know that they didn't know what they were doing. I just knew they were new. And I had confidence in myself that I could make an impact in an organization that was new. And I wanted to feel like I was a part of that. And even though North Star is a 20-year-old company, Smart Power is new. We've got a ton of experience for 20 years running businesses, and we get to leverage all that experience in this startup. But the idea that I got attracted to back in the day is the same that exists today with Smart Power. And new guys, the leadership that we talked about, I think that's a big reason why they decided to work with us is they wanted to feel like they were part of that as well. They want to feel like their contribution mattered.
And it does.
It does. It totally does.
Yeah.
And I know that was a big thing for you. You're an entrepreneur. You love that idea of feeling like you're a part of creating, right? You get to use your creativity, your mind. You get to think about things. You get suggestions, and all of those things are heard. And we're molding this business in a way that everybody gets to feel like I own this. Like this is phenomenal. And there's so many more opportunities still for guys to come in because what we did this year is going to be small in compared to what we do next year and the next year and the next year. But the guys coming in right now get to feel like they get to be a big part of taking the company from where it is today to where it's going to be in 5 years or 10 years. And that's just a whole different level of satisfaction that I got when I started out that I think is fun to talk about with new guys that are looking at working with us.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be lucky to work with us if the process of doing this podcast is for people to hear about the talented people that we have or to get excited about it. I mean, with you guys and the experience you have behind you and, just based on the presentation we did yesterday and the type of business that we've already generated in our first period together and the rapport that we've built, I've really started to enjoy working with you more. And then just to talk about some of the guys that we have people in Florida and Arizona and, some of the best managers, Fernie, people who follow him anywhere. And, Ryan, super talented, kind of the guy that a lot of these guys came from and a lot of people look up to. Matt, just one of the sharpest kids I know. Nate, super lucky to work with him, but one of the best sales trainers I've ever met. And Graham, just up and coming, doing great. Everybody, I think he was one of our best rookies a couple years. And I'm just really, really looking forward to working with this talent and building it up. We've talked about a ton of the good stuff that we have, but I wondered if you guys, looking back on this experience that we did recently, would have done anything differently. Is there something you would have tweaked?
In the last 9 months or so?
In the last 9 months.
I don't know. Wish we would have. You always want to do more, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I meant it. So I guess the reason I asked is I look back and I think like, what could we have done? And the improvement that I have, I just think that we're going to have a really clear path. So we jumped into this, and I think we learned a lot about what these positions are and how people are going to be going into it. So for anybody that's listening to these, to this podcast, you know, the one difference was we were jumping to a new industry that I knew nothing about. And so I didn't know how, the models worked. We're doing a setter closer model. I'm trying to think, as people are listening to us right now, that some of them might be brand new. They don't know what solar is. They don't know what a setter closer model is. They don't know that some people are doing self gens, and I'm trying to put myself outside my own shoes into the listener's position. And so one of the things that I think that we're going to be getting better at this year is we're going to have a really clear path to advancement. Like if you come here, we're going to put something in your hands and say, this is what you need to do to get to this place. And this is what this position is. And that's how you'll get there. And this is how much money you'll be making. And I see it as my job as a leader and a future leader is to be responsible for being able to help you have some real financial clarity if you're planning on getting into this industry, and also knowing exactly how much money you can make and what it takes to get there. And so if there's something that I'm going to improve upon this year, it's that. And I'm really excited to build the business models all around that concept. So saying that, I meant maybe in the realm of, you know, what are you looking to do? It doesn't have to be something that you're improving, but what are some of the things that you guys are excited about that, you know, are going to be some huge, some good changes?
Well, I think the main response I would have is that we always want to be very aware of where we're at in relation to our people, right? If our primary objective is to take care of our salespeople, we need to know how the decisions we're making, how the program we're running, how it's affecting them. How does it land with them? Do they love it? Are they excited? Are they motivated? Are they coming back? A lot of that you can see in the results, right? The retention, how quickly are they to sign up for next year? Are they signing up for the blitzes? Like you can see in the results if you hit a home run or not. And we've seen a lot of that. So that's why I think it's a little tough to say. I mean, obviously it's a startup, so there's so many things you wish you could do differently.
Yeah.
But at the same time, part of it being a startup is what allows for the fun to exist. Where you're loose, you're nimble, you're flexible, you're making decisions on the fly, you're doing things that maybe become a little more challenging to do as the organization grows and becomes a little bit more structured with processes. So each phase of the business, as I've been in this industry for 20 years and had 2 or 3 different startups, each phase of the business has its own unique fun elements to it. But I think overall, we just always have to constantly be aware of whether or not the decisions we're making for the organization are continually meeting that objective of taking care of our salespeople. They're the lifeblood, right? And so those are the changes we're constantly looking at, trying to figure out what we need to do.
It's funny, Rob, you said, what's the most fun? I think the most fun out of any organization, you talk about the life cycle of an organization, is really the growth phase, though. And that's where we're at. And I don't see that stopping for any time soon. So it's going to be the most fun for the next few years for sure. And then Max, you talk about, what would you do differently? And I'm not exactly sure what we would do differently, but I know that one thing that we were committed to when we started this thing was transparency. And, I think maybe we failed in some respects because it's not easy to be completely transparent, but that's our goal. And because I think that transparency and communication is part of one of our main goals, and that is to take care of our people.
Yeah.
So looking forward, you pointed out a couple things. I think for this next year and the years after, is we have a plan. Everybody knows the plan. It's a transparent plan, and we're not trying to hide anything. I think we know, who's going to lead, at least with what we have right now, what our goals are from a production standpoint, what our expectation are from training and getting on the doors, our weekly blitzes or our semi-monthly blitzes, the things that we've done. We've laid out a plan, and you've done a great job in setting that setting that up. And so the transparency of that, there's a lot of sales guys that get all excited and they get all emotional, but you've put together an incredible plan for us to execute. And that's what great leaders do. And that's what I'm excited about. I think we have some core guys that are, great salesmen, but they also think ahead and they think about how we're going to execute what we're trying to do. And so I think it's part of our culture is that we're transparent, and we set a plan and then go do it.
Yeah. And I was loving what Rob was talking about. It's just about being a startup and not being nimble, being small. It's that David and Goliath concept. You think David is the weaker guy, but he's actually quicker, able to move. He's not. He's actually the person with the advantage in disguise.
Yeah.
And so, I'm with the talent that we have and some of the backing that we have, I feel like kind of that David, and I actually think that we've got a lot of advantages in disguise. And I like the fact that we can move nimbly. I have this quote that I wrote down after I read this book, and it's the consistency of a program, it's its ability to project its philosophies throughout the whole organization, enabled by a lack of layers and bureaucracy. And I think that's the big way that we are enabled by a lack of layers and bureaucracy is a lot of time those layers and those rules and the specific things and the red tape and policies that happen at a company, those oftentimes happen because you're trying to regulate bad apples or bad reps, or you're trying to regulate people because you're like afraid to get rid of them. And what occurs is when you have all the right people on the bus like we do, then we can just move quickly and get shit done.
Totally. And another interesting concept of opportunity, I love promoting opportunity. And a lot of times businesses in their startup phase, early into their startup of the business, they can talk about opportunity because they're small, right? And an individual can look at it and be like, well, it's a small company. I could go be kind of the top guy at that organization. And one thing that I always find interesting is most businesses fail. So opportunity really only exists to the extent that the company can support it. Everybody who starts a business can say, massive opportunity. You're the first guy. You're at the top, right? You get to come and help us build this thing. But if the people making the decisions to run the business and being, fiscally responsible and being careful with how the business is run, the decisions that are being made, if the people running the business aren't making good decisions, then who cares? Like, the business isn't going to create the opportunity that was promoted in the first place. And we've had a good track record. And a lot of the reason we've had a good track record is Dan is super smart. He went, and went into the public accounting world.
The boy's wicked smart.
Yeah. And thank goodness that it's probably better that he went. When I tried to get him to come and start the satellite company with me when he just finished college, he went to, the accounting world and spent 5 years auditing Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies, and really gained some skill sets that have translated into, the operational expertise that he has now to help us continue to make good decisions and make sure the operations of the business run really well and the finances of the business are managed really, really well, so that when we talk about opportunity, it's real, right? We've done it several times. This company will be successful. It's going to grow. It's going to be an amazing business. And we're not just saying it as first-year startup guys who just started a business and they've never done it before, but they're talking about opportunity because it's new. This is real opportunity that will grow and become something significant, largely due to the experience that we've already been able to have over the last 20 years to get, to ensure that it's a successful venture.
For sure. And on top of that, I'm just like, I feel like this Will Smith commercial, it wasn't a commercial, it was an interview. It was a Will Smith interview, and he's talking about how, one of the reasons that he wins is if you were to get on a treadmill next to him and it was supposed to be a race, he's going to die before he gets off the treadmill before you. Right? And that's kind of how I feel about this right now. So I'm just going to die before this fucking doesn't win.
We're back to competing, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Competitive and winning. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. And some of the things Rob just said about our experience, public accounting was a long time ago, but 15 years of running either as a CFO, COO, or CEO, running all of these operations, we've made mistakes. We've had a lot of successes. And I think experience is the greatest educator. And you guys have had experiences on the doors. We've had experience with individuals. We've had experiences with cash flow, with banks, with supply chain issues. Like, these are all the things, really boring stuff to kind of not exciting to talk about maybe on a podcast, but the experience, I think, should give people some sort of excitement and belief that we'll be able to do what we say we're going to do. And so far,
yeah, we don't even have to name names, but if you think about, like, here's the thing, and we're really excited to work with some of the people that we're going to be working with, like Surge, and that's going to help us become the product that people know about. Because another quote that I've been thinking about is, nobody is going to be buying the product that everybody knows about. The worst product that everybody knows about is always going to beat the better product that nobody doesn't. And so I'm just excited for people to hear about us. But there's a lot of products, aka companies, that people know about. And they're actually, I think, I don't want to now pick fights, because I actually think there's enough on this table, enough in this industry for everybody to eat. So if someone's going to listen to this and then it's going to like start that little competitive fire, like, oh, now those boys were up there talking shit. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. But the point is, I feel like there are people that are like, taking a piece of the pie right now or becoming known in this industry that aren't as well as equipped as we are. And we're already doing good in our first year. I feel like we're equipped, talented. I think, and we're going to be known soon.
For sure.
That's a good point.
That feels like a good spot to finish. We'll just wrap it up, and we're going to be able to be followed at Team Smart Power, at Team Smart Power on Instagram. But soon enough, talk about being known. You're going to be able to find us on TikTok, Facebook, a bunch of the other platforms, and you're going to hear about us. You're going to see us, and we're going to be stirring the pot. This again was Rob Harris, Dan Noble. Do you guys want to shout out your own personal Instagrams, or that doesn't matter to you at all?
No.
Well, you can look me up at Roofless Like the Coop. That's at ROOFLESSKUPE. The reason I did that's an excerpt from a line from a song by 50 Cent. I'm the dropout that made more money than his teachers. Roofless like the coop, but I got more features.
Max just wants a lot of followers, so follow him.
Follow me. Oh yeah, so we're gonna be.
I thought it was complicated until he said that.
Yeah, like, we're gonna be pushing that. I'll be pushing that platform, and Team Smart Power. You're gonna hear about us.